NGG.
Welcome to the year 20XX.
And here we go. Now this is Mega Man 9, released for the WiiWare. It was also released for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 as downloadable content. This game was announced at E3 2008. It was a big surprise to the fans. They were not expecting this. Capcom came out of the gate strong by introducing a game using an engine over 20 years old.
Yeah, this is the Nintendo Entertainment System Mega Man engine running this game.
And it is a very tight game, and that just shows how tight the engine was that Capcom had been using for the entire lifespan of the Nintendo system.
They came out with 6 games on this engine, and by the time they did all that, players started to get a little sick of it, so they brought it back now, and it seems fresh, even though it's really the same thing.
Yeah, Mega Man has never really worked in the 3D arena, and I think this is Capcom's answer to that. They said, you know what, we need to go back to what really works, and they realized everyone loved the original series. Mega Man 7 wasn't that different. Mega Man 8, I always felt, was a big departure. So this is the first pure Mega Man game in over 10 years almost.
Yeah, and it went away from everything. You know, they've tried the isometric view with the EX series. They've
done the 3D with Mega Man Legends.
3D. They've made RPGs based off the game. They had that crazy Chinese-only version. And so here, finally, they say, well, this is what the players want. This is what people think of when they think of Mega Man. The other ways just haven't worked, as Duck said. So here it is, pure Mega Man fun.
Exactly. So we should talk about some of the additions to this game. It is a classic Mega Man, but as you're seeing, they're adding elements of the gameplay levels that you've never seen before. This is one of them. Another one would be using power-ups to, in later levels, using your power-up as a tornado to lift platforms. Just other things. And this game is relentless in level design. This is a mid-boss. This is the meatball boss, as Ray likes to call it.
Like a meatball.
And it truly is a testament to the game design. These levels are very difficult, but you come back for more. That's the love of Mega Man for the fans, is you have to memorize the stage. You have to know which obstacle is coming up, and you have to learn a way to defeat it. And this game does that in a way that hasn't been done in years.
And as we discussed, this is harder than the original Mega Man games in a lot of regards. Like, the level designs are pretty tough, but I think they needed to do that because there's so many of us out there to every Mega Man up to this point that we demand, a challenge.
Absolutely. And they even went far as to take out some of the additions they made in the later games in the original series, such as there's no X-Buster upgrade, and there's no slide. That's a big deal because you think that would take a lot away from the level design, but they really build around that idea that they didn't want those things in the game.
Ray is very proud of himself for defeating the meatball boss.
So now the bad guys in this game are very tough. You have to learn the repetition or whatever their pattern is. Most of them only have 2 or 3 patterns they go through, but back to back, those can be very difficult to beat.
Yeah, that's always been a hallmark of the Mega Man series, is every different boss character, not boss character, but every different character has something that they do, and you have to learn how to overcome all the bosses.
And also you get your weapon weakness, which is very important in this game. It's very hard to beat some of the bosses without collecting another power-up from another boss to defeat them, which really harkens back to the original games.
You see, those things close up, and it's very difficult to time your shots to hit them, especially when there's multiple. Now look at this.
It's very difficult, but this is what I'm saying about the level design being so great. Some of the other cool things that are in this game is you have a shop. After you collect so many bolts, you can go in and buy power-ups that you can use, such as extra E-tanks, an M-tank which will fill your energy, and your power-ups. Also, you can get extra lives. You can get weapons, such as if he was to step on one of these spikes here, he could buy a power-up that would prevent damage from happening at that point.
Oh! Almost.
Also, you
Let's
can
check out another level.
Also, you can buy a roll outfit, so you can look like Mega Man's sister in this game. Later on, they will be having downloadable content that you pay for, that you'll be able to download extra stages. A Proto Man suit is coming out for $3, and things like that. So there will be a longevity to this game, because it isn't a long game. And once you get it down, it takes about 45 minutes to defeat.
And that's true. Once you learn the levels, they do get a lot easier. But what's interesting with this release is it's online only, and they're going to continue supporting it, like Duck said. So the question of ultimately is, will we see more upgrades like this of classic games?
And really take it seriously. I hope that Capcom doesn't start to dial it in, because this game really advances the series in a weird way. Even though it goes back, it goes forward in so many ways.
Yeah, it feels like an appropriate follow-up to the classic games. It's not just Mega Man with a new gloss of paint and the levels done with better graphics. They're actually using the physical limitations of the NES hardware
and embracing them, and it comes out greatly. I think it was a wise move, a wise decision. Whoever came up with it, you deserve a handshake. And the other cool thing is the storyline is cheese factor, 80s cheese. The cutscenes are really cool because they're done in the 80s, classic engine way. They don't try to do animated cutscenes. They use the limitations of the game, and they really, in every way, they embrace it, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think it's a worthy upgrade, and anyone who's been a fan of the old Mega Man games, and anyone who's never played the Mega Man games and wants to try the series out, this is a great way to do it, because this throws you right in, and you see the challenge
going on right now. Even it's very difficult. They are not going to be nice to you, but you pay, it's only $10 to buy this game, and you get one hell of a game, and it's definitely worth it. The other aspect I like about this game is the collecting aspect. To collect those bolts is very difficult. You might have to stay in a single place, kill a little boss, over and over again until you get those bolts. But you have to have E-tanks to make it through some of the levels.
Or come back after you have a certain weapon upgrade to get them.
Absolutely.
So, and they're progressive. You collect them randomly from bosses, and they're in places within the levels.
But the other cool thing is, in the levels, if you grab the power-up, it will disappear while you're still on the level. You cannot go back and get it again if you die. The final stages, the castle stages, you have to use the power-ups you collected. They're not lenient on anything there. You have to use those. So you'll find yourself running out of power-ups. You have to go back and kill enemies just to fill those up again.
It's an emulated game using the NES hardware. So one thing we discussed was the actual slowdown. If there's too many sprites on the screen because they're using the NES's limitations.
Yeah.
So,
and that's something you can turn on and off in the options too. You can decide if you want that or not to really get that classic feel.
Yeah, so the purists that appreciate the fact that it's ran off that hardware can actually enjoy those little glitches that happen because of trying to push the engine, or you can just turn it off if you
don't want to be bothered with such things.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool addition, and I think that's something that gives it more of that authentic feel.
Yeah.
I mean, we're entering an area where retro is so in, and new vintage games, that's a market that could really be tapped into. I think that they could make a lot of great sequels to things. The problem is, once again, if they do start to dial it in, but I don't think that'll happen.
KG Inafune was involved in it, says Ray, so that is the original creator of Mega Man, and definitely a guy you want involved in the project. So.
And I think another thing that we haven't mentioned is the music. The music is so Mega Man-ish. I think that's the right way to say it. Mega Man originally wanted to use 80s rock music, and the character was originally named Rock because of that. His sister named Roll. Other characters in the series, bass, treble, things like that.
They made great use of the NES's abilities, and this is using, again, the NES audio hardware.
And embracing the limitations of it.
Yeah.
Making kicking tracks, music that is memorable, music that you hum.
Now here's a random little known fact that we'll throw out there. Mega Man was originally designed for the Famicom Disk System, and there's little things where the boss, when you get to the boss battles that lift up there, were implemented to hide loading from the Famicom Disk System. But then the game was released on the Famicom/NES cartridge, so they just left that in there.
But that is...
And again, they used the cheesy over-the-top bosses that basically are named what they are.
Yes, and this is the first game in the series to have a woman boss. You can buy help from Eddie in the store, who will show up on the screen you're in and give you a power-up. You can also use Beat the Bird, who will kill enemies around you. You also have a device you can buy that will allow that anytime you pick up your weapon's energy, the lowest one will fill up first. So that was our look at Mega Man 9 for Nintendo Wii.
New Gen Gamers.com.